Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. We're on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, or you're listening by podcast, or you're listening and watching on Facebook Live. Welcome to our show about case management. We have Joan Westgor and Katie Reynolds. They're registered nurses and certified case managers, and we introduced the definition and philosophy of case management. Now we're going to talk about what to expect.
Yeah, so as a hospital case manager, what to expect. You'll probably see your case manager within 24 hours of your hospital admission, also in the emergency room if you present there. You can expect a collaborative and thorough assessment of your specific needs. You can expect questions like who do you live with and what your support system is, whether or not you require assistance with your activities of daily living at home. You can expect to be asked what your baseline function is, and whether you have certain challenges to meet your needs at home or your health goals. You'll be asked if you have any advanced directives, such as a directive to physician, a living will, a medical power of attorney, do not resuscitate, so that way we can make sure that we are aware of those documents. If you not have advanced directives, you'll be asked in regards to whoever your next of kin is. Who's that person to make decisions if you could not? We will provide you information on your diagnosis, what to expect on your treatment plan, the things that your physicians have ordered, and expect how long your stay is going to be. You can expect that we're going to talk about transitional care, things that you may or may not need when discharging from the hospital. We'll discuss your coverage options within your insurance network and always provide you a choice of the services that are available. Case management often has 100 different healthcare networks that we are working with patients on and seeking network options for. We might be discussing long-term care planning. If you're having increased visits to the hospital or you're not having your needs met at home, an alternate living environment or things to support you in the home environment, that'll help you be successful with your healthcare goals. We might include an elder care advisor in regards to maybe a transition to independent living, assisted living, memory care, personal care homes, more additional services in the home such as private duty care provider services. We also might be talking about long-term care planning in regards to long-term nursing home care, and what that looks like and how to apply. We'll discuss what your insurance covers and what you may need to cover as a patient or a family. If you don't carry health insurance, we'll be talking about county programs. We'll be talking about community resources, how to obtain medications through better medication coverage. Of note, Medicare open enrollment period starts October 15th and lasts through December 7th. The healthcare marketplace opens November 1st and ends January 15th. So if you have enrollment changes you need to make or enroll in new coverage, that is available, and those enrollment periods are coming up. We'll also discuss, we're the stewards of transitional care and explain what to expect at each level of care. The goal is to have the right level of care at the right time.
This sounds like a pretty heavy conversation. Is that easy or difficult?
We have it can take anywhere between 5 minutes and 15 minutes. There are at-risk individuals who have higher risks and higher needs, which will take a case manager to spend a little bit more time with them.
So depending on somebody's situation is whether you would cover all of that stuff or just part of it.
Yeah, some of it is very basic, and then the risk assessment will kind of drive you into those additional questions.
Okay, Joan?
So with that said, I want to talk about the fundamentals, the important fundamentals for certified case managers. And within the organization CMSA, which I said is Case Management Society of America, which is the oldest and largest professional organization that was established in 1990. I'll talk more about that at the last couple minutes. But what's really important out of the 16 fundamental principles, there's two that we're talking about today is ethics and advocacy. And Katie and I will expand upon it. So just to read the version, here we are. So the fundamental ethical principles are essentially autonomy, respect to individuals, rights to make their own decisions, beneficence, to do good, fidelity, to follow through and keep promises, justice, to treat others fairly, and non-maleficence, to do no harm.
Okay.
So that's what guides us. That's what's our passion, to protect the consumers, the clients, and the
Well,
public.
doesn't everybody want to do that?
Yes, we hope. Yes, of course. It's,
We hope so.
It's a foundation.
Yeah.
It's kind of a principle of standards too that case management should practice by, and when you're a certified case manager, you are held to those standards, which start with that thorough assessment, that thorough bedside assessment or home health assessment, whichever environment you're in. You can't present a good plan of care unless that thorough assessment gives you the information that you need to devise that plan. So that's the key of setting that standard of practice.
Are there some case managers that aren't certified?
Well, yes. It's case management isn't an entry-level job. It takes a lot of experience, time-wise, and professional involvements to have a greater understanding of the healthcare system, too. So not everyone is certified, but each of the certifying organizations and boards have a long list of criteria. So usually you have to be fairly tenured to even sit for the exam.
Okay.
There are rules as far as timing of when you can get certified. So you'll find that a case manager, if they are starting out in the beginning, they're going to be mentored. They're going to be doing hands-on, on-the-job type of a training, and then grow in their practice. And as they grow in their practice, you'll find that they want to become certified. So that's kind of how that transitions.
And what are some of the advantages of being certified to the case manager?
Well, you have recognition from your peers with your knowledge, authenticated knowledge. You pass the test.
Right.
And, besides that, and respect. And when you say you're certified, you're held accountable to not just your board of nursing or the social work licensing, but you're accountable to your organization from which you've been certified. So as a certified case manager, the standards of ethics and the other 15 principles all apply. It's regulatory.
And somebody probably wants to do a good job, and that lets them know that they know all of those principles.
Yeah, and also, and Katie might be able to say something to this, many employers will reimburse or pay higher or recognize certification as a real value-added person to their organization.
I think every line of nursing, whether it's a bedside nurse, an advanced practice nurse, a doctoral nurse, they all start in their profession and their area of expertise, and the end goal is to become certified. Whether you're a med-surg nurse or an oncology nurse, there's a certification for every field, and so certification in case management kind of puts you to a point where you're becoming a subject matter expert in that field and in that area.
Joan told me you were a subject matter expert. Did you know that? Is that what they say about you?
Well, people ask me, the way I practice, it comes from a wealth of knowledge that I've placed myself into different environments. I've worked in the acute and the post-acute in many different levels of that transitional care term we talk about. And so I see the things that are working, that are not working, and I bring that back to the hospital setting to perform a better assessment of needs, to realize it's the questions that you're asking. If you're not asking the right questions, you may not get that full assessment that you're looking for. So collectively, I do consider myself a subject matter expert. It's come with a lot of mentoring. It's come with a lot of experience behind my belt.
You're very passionate about what you do.
I think we both are. I think that's why we sit here together.
We have had these same discussions the last couple of years, off and on, and this is just an extension of it, bringing it to the public.
Okay, so the audience is probably wondering whether you work together. I don't think we've talked about that yet.
That's right. I forgot to say it. I've been a case manager since 1996. I've been certified since 2011. It took me that long to get brave enough to sit for the exam. Katie and I met while we worked at SAMC, Brook Army Medical Center. for some time in case management. And she was, in my eyes, amongst everybody, she was just that unique, that she had that same feeling I did.
Mm-hmm. And so neither one of you work for BAMC or SAMC
No.
right now.
Oh, right. And I retired from Brooke Army Medical Center as a case manager.
I'm sorry to make you say that. You didn't want to say that
No,
word.
no, that's because
You're doing something
still
else now anyway.
yeah.
Which I think is a great segue because Joan and I worked together in the acute care setting, but then we transitioned and created this relationship of after she retired, she then became an advocate for my patients, which was real important. And I knew her background, and I knew, as a nurse and as a certified case manager, that she, and her advocacy, she would bring so much more to the table for the patient and their family. So her and I work together in regards to, I make referrals. I have patients, as I spoke about, may need to engage an elder care advisor, and that's what Joan is to my patients right now, an elder care advisor, an extension of a hospital case manager into the community as to what the community offers to the patient.
Let me ask this. When a patient leaves the hospital, do you wonder how they're doing?
I often keep, depending on their level of risk, I often, I 100% all the time wonder, but I also pass the baton on to Joan for those high-risk ones or those ones that need more, steps to the discharge planning process, and then she'll get back to me as to how their outcome is.
And that's perfect question you asked her, because that is the same thing I always wondered about when I was working. What happens to the families after they leave the hospital in the skilled setting arena. And I would refer to people in the community who do what they do to help my patients. A month or so later, or a couple weeks, or even a year later, I get a call back and they tell me what had occurred and the successes they had with the family. And so after some time after retiring, I didn't realize I'd been mentored by my current manager now from Home to Home for Seniors, Barbara Lambert. As many people know, she had mentored me into believing that I could do the same thing, and I've done it. And I find my experiences from the hospital setting is just phenomenal. I can identify with everything that Katie and other people tell me from the clinical side and speak to the families for things that they really need to know.
So besides families saying thank you for coordinating their care, how does a case manager know if they're doing a good job at work?
Case managers, outcomes. Case management and healthcare systems are driven by outcomes. The things we ask, the things we do, the things we transition, that right level of care at the right time, all has to do with the best possible health outcome for that patient. And I think, with the best possible outcomes, your case manager is going to be rewarded in how well you do, as far as, not returning to the hospital, no repeat admissions, transitioning you to the next care level with the end goal to get home in mind. We always say home is best, but what it's going to take to get there and to reach your health outcomes.
Great. Yeah, that's what I figured, because at least Medicare has some standards that if their patients end up back at the hospital, then maybe the hospital gets a reduced pay rate or something like that.
It goes with that philosophy of case management. The philosophy of case management looks at the patient, looks at the healthcare system as a whole, including the payer source, the patient, the family. Everybody is invested in that health outcome, and that starts with the case management assessment.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We're going to talk more about case management, but first, we're going to take a break. So stay tuned and stay with us.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the Ten Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.